tea, I should. A new op-ed says, quote, House Republicans hold a 4-vote majority, the smallest in decades. In no plausible political universe could Republicans expect to roll back the legislation that Democrats passed. McCarthy had to make a judgment call about the policy victories he had pocketed and the political risks he might run if he held out for more. Charles Payne, host of Making Money on Fox Business. What does all of that mean to you and where we just got with this process?
Well, I think we saw it, right? On one end, you had Marjorie Taylor Greene with the sort of the further right, more fiscally, listen, let's fight, let's fight back any chance we get. And then the Wall Street Journal editorial board saying, well, let's take a more pragmatic approach. It was interesting when I saw Representative McCartney saying, I fight for you. I wasn't quite sure who he was talking about, right? With that many Republicans voting against this.
Yeah.
And essentially the key word here is fight. When do you pick your battles and when don't you? Mm-hmm. And I got to be honest with you. Going into this, I thought the Republicans would get a much better deal. 80% of Republicans said this is the time to cut spending. 2/3 of independents said it's time to cut spending. Half of Democrats said this is the opportunity to cut spending.
Do you know why? We found out on the show why yesterday, and it was something that I think a lot of people learned because it blew up all over social media last night. So House Speaker and I were here talking, and he said he was only allowed to see 11% of the total budget, that Biden had walled off the rest of it. And so the $2.13 trillion, the history-making cut, in cuts for the debt ceiling raise, the deal was only on 11% of the spending. So you got to wonder, well, what in the world is in the other?
Yeah.
And why? And I called it a travesty that he didn't get to see the whole thing.
Yeah, and he should have called it out. I mean, I don't understand. Get everyone to rally around you. We're all in this together. Other parts of this that are really disappointing, obviously, is now spending until January 1st, 2025. So that takes the election out of the picture. That brings in a lame duck Congress.
Made it tasty for Democrats.
Right. I mean, it's just and just the messaging part of it. You want people to go to work in this country. This is what we're founded on.
The work requirements were in it.
Yeah, but here's what the CBO says about the work requirements. Okay, approximately 78,000 people would gain benefits in an average month. So we'll have 78,000 more people getting food stamps who should be working. 78,000 more. The spending increase of $6.8 billion. So I don't know. Listen, and the Medicaid part of it is funky. It just has to be straight. All the loopholes that were put in it, right? Okay, well, let's exclude this group of people, that group of people living at home, people who are right-handed, people who can't sleep at night. I mean, when you start to layer those things in.
Hold on one second, because I want to get to this. The Penn-Wharton budget model estimated that this new legislation, should it go through, would reduce federal spending, not including interest, by about $1.3 trillion over the next 10 years.
Right. That over 10 years, that's the proverbial drop in a bucket. Again,
you are not impressed by this deal at all. Would you have been one of the 71 who voted against it?
I would have voted against it, yeah. If I was an elected official, I would have definitely voted against it. This was the opportunity right now to take...
Even up against the June 5th deadline?
Sure. Can
I ask you a question there? Why is it that Janet Yellen last week said, okay, I'll move it from June 1st to June 5th? Like, why couldn't she move it to the 10th?
She wanted to keep pressure on, but at the same time, she had to acquiesce. June 1st.
Is that a fair question?
June 1st was never really the date, right? I mean, it was part of the negotiating ploy. You put pressure on everyone, but by going past this, she knew that it was too late. That if June 1st was the real X date, we were in a world of trouble.
Wow. Okay, let's.
But you gotta fight these things because these kind of opportunities only.
Do you think there was enough time to really fight? I guess is the question that I'm asking.
I think so. Listen, President Biden was the one who didn't want to negotiate. He was the one who stalled the negotiating process.
100%.
He came out and said, "I'm not negotiating."
He's got to run for president again, and he doesn't want this to happen on his watch.
It won't happen on his watch, thanks to this deal.